Li Yuanji, formerly Prince La of Chao, more commonly known by the title of Prince La of Chao, nicknamed Sanhu, was an imperial prince of the Chinese Tang Dynasty. He was a son of the dynasty's founder Emperor Gao of Tang, and in the intense rivalry developed between his older brothers Li Jiancheng, the crown prince, and Li Shimin, the prince of Qin, he sided with Li Jiancheng and often advocated drastic actions against Li Shimin, including assassination. In 626, Li Shimin, fearing that Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji were about to kill him, laid an ambush for them at Shanwu Gate outside the palace and killed them. Li Shimin then effectively forced Emperor Gao to yield the throne to him. Background: Li Yuanji was born in 603, during the reign of Emperor Wen of Sui. He was the fourth and final son of Li Yuan, the Duke of Tang, a hereditary noble, and Li Yuan's wife, Duchess Dao, who was herself the daughter of Dao Yi, the Duke of Shenwu, and Northern Zhou's Princess Zhang Yang. He had three older brothers by Duchess Dao: Li Jiancheng, Li Shimin, and Li Shanba. She also gave birth to an older sister of Li Yuanji's, the eventual Princess Pingyang. In 616, with agrarian rebellions beginning to engulf northern China and frequent eastern Tuju incursions across the border, Emperor Yang of Sui commissioned Li Yuan to be the commander of the forces at Taiyuan, guarding it against both agrarian rebels and eastern Tuju. At that time, Li Yuan took Li Shimin with him to Taiyuan, but left Li Jiancheng, Li Yuanji, another son Li Jiyun, and the rest of his household at Hedong. In 617, Li Yuan, fearful that Emperor Yang might punish him for his inability to suppress the rebels led by Lu Wazhao the Dingyang Khan, was persuaded by Li Shimin to rebel against Sui rule. He then sent secret messengers to Hedong to summon his sons into the capital Chang'an to summon his daughter and son-in-law Chai Shao. Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji secretly traveled to Taiyuan, but left the 13-year-old Li Jiyun at Hedong. Participation in Tang's founding. Even before Li Jiancheng, Li Yuanji, and Chai Shao arrived at Taiyuan, Li Yuan rebelled, declaring that he wanted to support Emperor Yang's grandson Yang Yu, the Prince of Dai, then nominally in charge at Chang'an, as emperor, while honoring Emperor Yang as Taishang Huang. In response, Sui officials arrested Li Jiyun, took him to Chang'an, and executed him. Li Yuan made Li Jiancheng and Li Shimin both key generals, but the younger Li Yuanji was not, initially, although Li Yuan created him the Duke of Guzhang. When Li Yuan subsequently began his campaign toward Chang'an, he left Li Yuanji in charge at Taiyuan. Later that year, after he captured Chang'an and declared Yang Yu emperor but kept power for himself as regent, he created Li Yuanji the Duke of Qi and put him in charge of the 15 commanderies around Taiyuan. In spring 618, Emperor Yang, then at Jiangdu, was killed in a coup led by the general Yuanji. When the news arrived at Chang'an, Li Yuan had Emperor Gong yield the throne to him, establishing Tang Dynasty as its Emperor Gao. He created Li Yuanji the Prince of Qi. It was said that, while he was at Taiyuan, Li Yuanji was arrogant and wasteful, and he often held military exercises with his concubines and servants, involving use of actual armor and arms, and they suffered many casualties in these exercises, including injuries to Li Yuanji himself. His wet nurse Chen Shani tried to get him to change his ways, but he had his guards batter her to death. In spring 619, when his assistant Yuan Xin reported this to Emperor Gao temporarily removed him from his post. Less than a month later, however, with the people of Taiyuan petitioning to have Li Yuanji kept in charge, Emperor Gao restored him. In summer 619, Lu Wazhao launched an attack on the Taiyuan region, and Li Yuanji sent the general Zhang Da to resist Lu. Despite Zhang's protestations that the army given him was too small to resist Lu, when Zhang was in fact defeated, he surrendered to Lu and served as Lu's guide in subsequent attacks. Lu soon put Taiyuan under siege, and while Li Yuanji initially repelled him, Lu was soon back and again had Taiyuan under siege. In fall 619, Li Yuanji fled with his wife and concubines back to Chang'an, and Lu captured Taiyuan, moving his capital from Maya there. In 621, with Li Shimin leading the army and sieging Luoyang, the capital of Wang Shichong's rival Zheng state, Li Yuanji served as Li Shimin's assistant. When subsequently another rival ruler, Dao Jada the Prince of Chia, came to Wang's aid, Li Shimin left Li Yuanji at Luoyang to continue the siege and to watch Wang, while he himself advanced to Huao Pass to engage Dao. Li Shimin defeated and captured Dao, and Wang, in fear, surrendered. Li Shimin received the most honors stemming from the victory, but Li Yuanji also received promotions and honors. Subsequently, when Emperor Gouge had the government mint new coins, there were strict prohibitions against minting by any other persons, except that Li Shimin and Li Yuanji were each granted the right to have 3 mints and Peiji was granted the right to have 1 mint. Later that year, when Du's general Lu Haita rose in resistance to Tang rule and took over all of Du's former territory, Li Shimin and Li Yuanji were sent against him. Li Shimin defeated Lu in spring 622, forcing Lu to flee to eastern Tuju. Subsequently, they attacked another rebel leader, Zhu Yuanlang the Prince of Lu. When Li Shimin returned to Chang'an and left Li Yuanji in charge of the operations against Zhu. Meanwhile, however, Lu returned from eastern Tuju and again occupied Du's old territory, and Li Yuanji was not able to stop him. Role in the rivalry between Li Jiancheng and Li Shimin. Meanwhile, an intense rivalry had developed between Li Jiancheng, who as the oldest son was Emperor Gaozu's crown prince, and Li Shimin, as Li Jiancheng, while a capable general himself, was overshadowed by Li Shimin, who had done much to solidify Tang rule by destroying Lu Wazhao, Wang Shichong, Dao Jada, and Zhu Rengao. Li Yuanji supported Li Jiancheng in this rivalry, as he believed that if Li Jiancheng became emperor, Li Jiancheng would create him crown prince. Since their mother Duchess Dao had died in 614, the fact that Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji had better relations with Emperor Gaozu's favored young concubines than Li Shimin did take a notable importance, since those concubines helped rehabilitate Li Jiancheng's standing before Emperor Gaozu, causing him to no longer consider making Li Shimin crown prince instead, as he considered at one point. After Lu Haita returned from eastern Tuju and reoccupied old Chia territory, Li Jiancheng, at the suggestion of his staff members Wang Jiyuai and Wei Zheng, volunteered to lead the army against Lu. Emperor Gaozu thus sent Li Jiancheng, assisted by Li Yuanji, against Lu. Around the new year 623, with Lu's force bogged down while attacking Tang's Wei prefecture, Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji engaged him at Guantao. Crushing him, Lu fled north toward eastern Tuju, but was ambushed and captured by his own official Duke of Davai, who delivered him to Li Jiancheng. Li Jiancheng executed Lu. China was by this point almost completely unified by Tang. At one point, Li Yuanji tried to persuade Li Jiancheng to have Li Shimin assassinated when Li Shimin was visiting Li Yuanji's mansion. But Li Jiancheng, not having the heart to kill a brother, stopped Li Yuanji from doing so. In 624, Li Jiancheng requisitioned a number of soldiers from the general Li Yi the Prince of Yan, to supplement his guard corps, against Emperor Gaozu's regulations. When this was revealed to Emperor Gaozu rebuked Li Jiancheng and exiled his guard commander Qidaji. When, subsequently, Li Jiancheng nevertheless requested the commandant at Qing Prefecture, Yang Wennigan, to conscript troops, presumably to guard against Li Shimin. The officers Erjuan and Qiao Gongshan informed Emperor Gaozu that Li Jiancheng was encouraging Yang to start a rebellion so that they could seize power together. Emperor Gouge, then at Renji Palace, was incensed, and summoned Li Jiancheng, then at Shanghai, to Renji Palace. Li Jiancheng briefly flirted the idea of occupying Shanghai and not accepting the order, but eventually reported to Renji Palace to request forgiveness. Emperor Gouge put him under arrest. When Yang heard this, Yang rebelled, and Emperor Gouge, after promising Li Shimin that he would be made crown prince, sent Li Shimin to attack Yang. Once Li Shimin left, however, Li Yuanji, Emperor Gaozu's concubines, and the Chancellor Feng Daya, all spoke on Li Jiancheng's behalf. And Emperor Gouge changed his mind, released Li Jiancheng, and allowed him to return to Shanghai and remain as crown prince. Instead, Emperor Gouge only blamed the discord between his sons on Li Jiancheng's staff members Wang Jiyuai and Wei Ting, and Li Shimin's staff member Du Yan, exiling them. Yang was subsequently assassinated by his own subordinates. Later that year, Emperor Gouge, troubled by repeated Eastern Tuju incursions, seriously considered burning Shanghai to the ground and moving the capital to Fancheng, a suggestion that Li Jiancheng, Li Yuanji, and the Chancellor Peiji agreed with. Li Shimin opposed, however, and the plan was not carried out. Meanwhile, Li Shimin himself was sending his confidants to Luoyang to build up personal control of the army there. After an incident in which Li Shimin suffered a severe case of food poisoning after feasting at Li Jiancheng's palace, an event that both Emperor Gouge and Li Shimin apparently interpreted as an assassination attempt, Emperor Gouge considered sending Li Shimin to guard Luoyang to prevent further conflict. But Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji, after consulting each other, believed that this would only give Li Shimin an opportunity to build up his personal power there, and therefore opposed it. Emperor Gouge therefore did not carry out the plan. Death. By 626, Li Shimin was fearful that he would be killed by Li Jiancheng, and his staff members Fang Shanling, Du Ruhui, and Zhang Sun Wuji were repeatedly encouraging Li Shimin to attack Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji first, while Wei Zheng was encouraging Li Jiancheng to attack Li Shimin first. Li Jiancheng persuaded Emperor Gouge to remove Fang and Du, as well as Li Shimin's trusted guard officers Yuqi Jingda and Cheng Jiji, from Li Shimin's staff. Zhang Sun, who remained on Li Shimin's staff, continued to try to persuade Li Shimin to attack first. In summer 626, Eastern Tuju was making another attack, and under Li Jiancheng's suggestion, Emperor Gouge, instead of sending Li Shimin to resist Eastern Tuju as he first was inclined, decided to send Li Yuanji instead. Li Yuanji was given command of much of the army previously under Li Shimin's control, further troubling Li Shimin, who believed that with the army in Li Yuanji's hands, he would be unable to resist an attack. Li Shimin had Yuqi summon Fang and Du back to his mansion secretly, and then on one night submitted an accusation to Emperor Gouge that Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji were committing adultery with Emperor Gaozu's concubines. Emperor Gouge, in response, issued summonses to Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji for the next morning, convening the senior officials Peiji, Cou, and Chen Shuda to examine Li Shimin's accusations. As Li Jiancheng and Li Yuanji approached the central gate leading to Emperor Gaozu's palace, Shandwu Gate, Li Shimin carried out the ambush he had set. He personally fired an arrow that killed Li Jiancheng. Subsequently, Li Yuanji tried to kill Li Shimin, but Yuqi killed Li Yuanji instead during the struggle. Li Shimin's forces entered the palace and, under the intimidation of Li Shimin's forces, Emperor Gouge agreed to create Li Shimin crown prince, and 2 months later passed the throne to him. Li Yuanji's 5 sons were all executed as well. Emperor Taizong also took Li Yuanji's wife, Princess Yang, as a concubine. Li Yuanji was initially posthumously reduced to commoner rank. After Emperor Taizong took the throne, he posthumously created Li Yuanji the Prince of Hailing, with the unflattering posthumous name of La. In 642, Emperor Taizong changed Li Yuanji's posthumous title to the greater title of Prince of Chao, and adopted his own son, by consort Yang, Li Ming the Prince of Chao, into Li Yuanji's line, as Li Yuanji's heir. Family. Consort Yang, married before 619, died after 636. Sons: Li Chengye, Prince of Liang Commandery; Li Chengduan, Prince of Yuyang; Li Chengzhang, Prince of Puan; Li Chengyu, Prince of Jiangxia; Li Chengdu, Prince of Yiyang. Daughters: Princess of Hejing, Princess of Shouchun, Princess of Wennan, Princess of Guirin; Li Ling, Princess of Xinye, the sixth daughter.